It's raining here, so I thought I would hang out in my garage with the door open and work for a little bit because this is much better than being stuck in the basement. I just wish when I streamed from my phone, I just wish there was a way I could like play music, you know? That's weird. You can turn on lighting, a retouch, like makes your face smooth. Oh, you can do screen. That's pretty cool. Man, the mobile has all kinds of features. Well, in any event, hey, what's up, RX Studios? Wow, didn't see this. Oh yeah. Well, I just went live like a minute ago, so I don't know if I go live from my mobile device. I don't know if it's still. I bet it still alerts the Discord, right? Watching on laptop. Ah, nice. Yeah, it's raining, and I really like rain, and I don't want to be stuck in my basement in my office. So I came out to the garage, and yeah, hanging out in the garage. This is uh this is what the other side. How do I flip this? Yeah. Here's what the other side of the. This is what my view looks like. Just nice, rainy, moody weather, you know? But give me give me moody weather over nice weather any day. It makes you nap better. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, rain will do that to you. Although I don't know, I just like the rain. It makes it feel cozy. Like I still feel productive, you know. Um, let's see. Where can I go on my computer so that I can see. There we go. Live control room, that's where I go. There we go. Okay, cool, yeah, so I can see the chat here. I was like, it's kinda hard to read because my phone's kinda far away from me. Um, what else? Oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful view I've ever seen. I thought it was just like the movies. Yeah, I don't know if it's the most beautiful view, it's just the suburbs, you know? It's the burbs. It's the burbs. My dog is probably like, "Why is he out in the garage right now?" Is there some other way I can, like. There we go, pop out chat, there we go, that's what I was looking for. It's been a while since I've streamed from my phone. So the only complaint I was just saying this earlier before anyone was here, the only complaint I have about streaming from my phone is I can't play music from my phone over the stream, so the vibes are a little off, but it makes for a nice change of pace. Huh, very well kept area, and the grass was so green. Here, that's mostly only for rich people places. Oh, well, I mean, yes, the place that we live in is a very I mean, it's a nice yeah, it's a very nice neighborhood. Although I just mean like if I was going to describe thing as like the most beautiful view, it probably wouldn't be this. Like this is obviously a beautiful view. I'm very appreciative of where I live and the place, the things we have, but you know, maybe like a beach somewhere would be nice or mountains. I always feel like maybe like some water in front with some mountains in the back, that would be the best view. Saeed, he is rich, I think. Well, yes, I believe the fact that I'm healthy, my family's healthy, that makes us rich in and of itself. But yes, I'm also very grateful for the life I have and the opportunities I've been given, for sure. For sure I am grateful for those things. You'd have to be a dummy not to be grateful for those things, you know? Beaches and mountains. You got beaches and mountains. Yeah. I think that's the prettiest scenery, you know? Like, we've been to Colorado a couple times on like family vacations, and I've always thought like those are the prettiest scenes is like a body of water, a small lake kind of nestled into surrounding mountains. I also set up remote desktop on the computer I have in my office, which is a much beefier computer. And so I can technically sit here in the garage and use that computer to work, which is really nice. My neighbors probably are driving by. I mentioned this last week, but we just recently moved to this house. And so I'm guessing my neighbors are driving by right now and they're probably like, what the hell is this dude doing? I forget the last time I saw a beach. Yeah, it's been a while for me. The last time I went to a beach was, oh man, I must have been a senior in high school. Went to Florida for vacation. So it's been a little while since I've been on a beach myself too. I'm too scared about remote laptops. Yeah, I mean, if it's just, I mean, I use Tailscale, so it's really only I can really only remote from my laptop to my other machines if I have Tailscale on both machines. Which if you're looking for like a very simple VPN solution, Tailscale is pretty awesome. It's really really easy to get set up, and they have a pretty generous free tier. All right, what are we doing here? Put this guy over here. This guy on the left side of the screen. So I had remote using LAN, or you can remote it anywhere. So right now it's just on my local network, but it can be from anywhere if I use Tailscale. I just have to have both computers connected to a network, and then I have to have Tailscale running on either device. Hello, Wolfie. How are you? Where are you? This is my garage. So this is I have a garage. So the stuff you see behind me is my gym in my garage. So like we have a well, we just got a two-car garage. So we moved to a new place, and it has a two-bay car garage, and so half the garage is all my gym stuff, and the other half is for where my wife parks her car. But yeah, like that's my squat rack, and then I think you can see like all the dumbbells back there, and then this is like some odds and ends equipment up on these two racks, and then Actually, up here, these things right here, these are actually, uh, it's like a 3 or 4 bay pull-up station that I had installed in my gym when I owned a small, personal training gym for a while, and I've just been carrying them around with me for the last 10 years because my hope is at some point, I can open myself a little hobby gym somewhere and, pure like, if you guys follow Sam Sulek, it's basically just gonna be like my gym that only me and my friends can use. So I'm keeping all this equipment in my garage. I have way more equipment than I need. Like I have another squat rack over there that's not put together. I have that pull-up bar up there. There's a few odds and ends pieces that I've been carrying around just in case I ever do get that gym one day. Scared about remote desktops because Docker ate all my gigs on my old laptop. Now I have PTSD. So the easiest way to manage Docker from Docker consuming all your memory is I think the command is Docker system prune, like on the command line, Docker system prune, and it'll clear out any unused images, any unused networks. It'll basically just like flush anything that's not currently being used as part of like your Docker setup. It will get rid of it. It'll purge it. So I run that like maybe once or twice a week when I remember. Pretty easy. Wolfie, what's going on today? Today, right now, this is office hours, so we are working. I'm currently writing some automated tests for a particular feature in our software, and I'm talking to you guys and enjoying the rain. I showed this earlier, but it's rain. The whole reason I'm working in the garage is because it's raining right now, and I wanted to sit and enjoy the weather while I worked. Because like, what's the benefit of remote work? If you can't enjoy having being able to work from anywhere. So that's why I'm up here right now. I'll go back to the office this afternoon probably when it stops raining. YouTube didn't notify you? Huh, that's weird. Yeah, let's just be angry at YouTube. I don't know why I don't know why it wouldn't notify you, you know? I wish there was something I could do about that, but unfortunately, YouTube doesn't care what little old me thinks. Stucks. The neural network is coming together. It has one shot learning. I can let it see something one time and it knows it was 70 to 90%. Huh, interesting. Well, I'm glad you're making progress on your project, Stux. I hope you're having fun. Steven, just talk to yourself, Steven. Well, if you can figure out where I'm at, kudos to you because I would consider it kind of BFE. I mean, it's probably not traditionally what people would think of as BFE, but I mean, in terms of like the entire world, you know? It's kind of like no man's world. There's nothing significant here. I forgot when was the last time I used Docker though? It should be more like Python VMV in my opinion, as it's way better. Um, well, Docker just provides isolation like a virtual environment does, but it provides it at, I think, a little bit lower level. You know, like it provides virtualization kind of at the OS level. Let's hope Rainbolt doesn't find this. Who's Rainbolt? I don't know who that is. Yeah, the stream said it started a few minutes ago, but YouTube said 15 seconds ago. Oh, weird. Yeah, that's super weird. That's a YouTube thing. YouTube is to blame for everything. Get the pitchforks. Uh, Syed, I have PTSD from Python. I remember writing a script to decrypt my file, and my mistake, I ran it twice. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm not a big Python guy. Although I feel like if you have any aspiration of doing machine learning or kind of lower level generative AI related things, right? You kind of have to get comfortable with it. Tyler, I didn't notice you're so hunky. What do you like? Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a small person. I'm not a small person. I weigh probably about 250, somewhere between 240, 250, depends on the day. Yasir, hey, how are you? What's going on? Nothing is going on right now, Yasir. I'm working on some automated tests. I'm currently in my garage, in my garage gym with the garage door open because we're having some kind of rainy, moody burr weather, and I'm just enjoying it. Did anyone see Syntax Queen and Well? I have not. I have not. She was in our Discord for a little bit, but I have not seen her in chat here in a bit. What's up, Blair Mike Studio? How are you? Good to see you, man. Wolfie. I like Python and TypeScript the most. What is that in kilos? Oh, let's see. Each kilo is 2.2. No, yeah, each kilo is 2.2 pounds. So if you take 250 divided by two, roughly, so 100, roughly 125 kg, I think. Yeah, roughly 100. Or will Pete? Oh, GeoGuessr. Okay, that's why you said you hope Rainbolt doesn't find the stream because he could GeoGuess my location. Well, I mean, it's not super hard. Like you can get pretty close just by looking at where I locate all my videos to. Um, but yeah, I'm not a super important individual, so I don't worry about people going out of their way to find me. Yeah, what Syed said. Stux, where did you move to? Not far. We're like 10 blocks from where we were before. So here in Kansas, we get tornadoes. We're kind of, especially where we are in Kansas, we're like right in Tornado Alley. Actually, my hometown is even more in Tornado Alley than where we live at now. And for the last few years, we haven't had like a safe space to go when there's real bad weather like that. So we've always had to like go to family members or friends' houses. And finally, it got to the point where my wife and I, more my wife was like, we just really need a place with a basement. And so that was the real reason for moving, was to get a place that has a basement that when there is bad weather, we can go in the basement and not have to worry about traveling or going to somebody else's house, you know? Uh, that was the big reason. He memorized every single interior space in Canada. I can't even memorize where I leave my shoes in my house. How does somebody memorize that much physical space? That's crazy. Yeah, we all know it's a suburban. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the geoguessers would do quick work. Wolfie, that moment when you realize your little script has turned into 200,000 plus lines. Yeah, honestly, that's like every project you ever sit down to write, right? It's like I have this idea for this thing, and then all of a sudden you're 100,000 lines in, and you're like, actually, no, I don't. 100,000 lines is a lot of code. You know, that's a lot of code. See you, Stux. Have a good day, man. Kajani, how far can that chair lean back? Pretty far. My father-in-law just got these for us. So I was complaining to my wife that like we needed to upgrade our lawn chairs. Because my son's been playing football, so I've been spending, I don't know, 6 hours a week, 8 hours a week sitting in these really uncomfortable lawn chairs. And so I was complaining to my wife that like, hey, we really need to upgrade those things. Also, because I broke one of them. I sat in it and the chair broke. And uh so she mentioned that to her dad, and her dad was wanting to get us something, I guess, like as a home warming gift type of thing for a new place. And he bought us these really nice chairs, and they rock, which is super cool. It's like a rocking chair, a rocking camping chair, but they're very comfortable. Well, it is a complete school newspaper website with dashboard, backend, etc. So, Wolfie, how did you go from a script to a complete school newspaper website? What was the script originally supposed to do? I don't understand. Rocking chairs rock. Good ones, good Johnny. How are you doing, man? It's good to see you. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are doing well, Syed. Exactly. Yesterday, I submitted my first phase for the NASA Space app. Swear each time I figure out a solution, I see a new problem. That's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. The NASA Space app, huh? Is that like a competition that NASA's running, or what's the story there? Not Aiden. Hello. Yes, I do remember you. Not Aiden. How are you doing? Peruse, Farage, Firebase, or Supabase? I've only ever used Supabase. I've never used Firebase, so it's hard to say. Fine. What about you? I am good, man. I woke up healthy. My wife's healthy. My kids are healthy. The weather's nice. I mean, in my opinion, the weather's nice. So yeah, no complaints. It's a worldwide competition to figure out a solution for space and climate change. Huh, I've never heard of this. Do you have a link, like a website link, possibly, that I could take a peek at? Because that's super interesting. Sorry, I'm getting Slack messages. Syed, no rush, man, no rush. If you don't have a link, it's no worries. But I was just curious more for my own, like, huh, maybe I want to try to come up with a solution. Rain is great, then no one says go outside, touch grass. What is this grass? I don't know. I would probably go for a walk in this rain. I mean, it's not pouring; it's just more of a drizzle, you know. And you're not made of sugar; you're not gonna melt, you know. So Wolfie, go outside and touch grass. Funny thing is, I was debating on what cloud storage service to use, Firebase or another one. Uh, I would I would recommend checking out Convex. I don't know if you write any React. They have other framework libraries now too, so if you wanna use Vue or whatnot. But, Convex is really cool. I think they have one of the best backend as a service situations. Obviously, like I said, I've never used Firebase, but I've used Supabase, what else? Convex, Pocket Base. Have you ever heard of Pocket Base? Pocket Base is really cool because it's basically a single binary, like a single executable that will provide you a whole backend as a service for free that you can just self-host, which is pretty wild. And I'm pretty sure Pocket Base is developed by one guy. I think it's all written in Go, and it's one dude who's built it all. How do you spell that? Oh, hold on one sec. I'll type that in chat. Try convex. Convex.dev, I think, is the website. I'm definitely half deaf. Well, sometimes it's probably hard to hear because I mumble. Been told my whole life I mumble. What are you gonna do? Not mumble? Let's 1 second. Do, 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 do. The fact that we don't have any music really stinks. I again, it's the one knock I have when I stream from my phone is like there should be some way to overlay music in your mobile streams without having to have like you should be able to like fire up a mobile stream on your phone and have some sort of like background music of some type. I only know Supabase and Firebase. Like Google, but I prefer open source projects. Yeah, I mean, it's nice whenever you can actually to me, the important thing is being able to have that self-hosting outlet to be able, "Hey, if I want to, I could self-host this." You know what I mean? I think that's really nice to be able to say whenever you're especially when you're committing a project that you don't really know if it is gonna be successful, right? I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna be successful, but just having that ability is nice. Alright, let's try this again. Convex looks solid, though I can't use it because 'cause I'm using HTTP request to call the API. Yeah, if it you won't like if you don't if you're just using HTTP requests, like if you're not gonna use WebSockets, Convex isn't as cool. The cool thing about Convex is and Supabase has this functionality too, but the cool thing with those services is that reactive nature of those data stores, the ability to not have to think about that, right? If data changes in your backend, the front end automatically reflects that. Um, and you get that out of the box without any real effort. Um, versus if you've ever had to implement that type of functionality yourself, you realize it actually is a lot of work and takes a lot of consideration to be like, oh, every time I make a request that mutates data that's in my backend, I also need to remember to make a request to fetch that new data and display it on the page. And that's the type of user experience users now are kind of expecting a lot of times, especially if you have like a very rich interactive front end. So to get that out of the box, right, without even really lifting a finger is pretty awesome. Star123, hello, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Not working now? I am working. Uh I'm not like showing what I'm working on camera. I'm like working, like day job working and talking to you guys. It's 5:36 PM here. Nice. It's 9:37 AM here. Time zones are weird things. Ah, fuck, the flies are getting me. They must know I have coffee out here. Wolfie, there's an app called Streamlabs, I think. With it, you have OBS practically on your phone. You can use Streamlabs on your phone now? I had used Streamlabs on my desktop. That's what I originally started streaming with at the beginning of this year was Streamlabs before moving over to OBS. But I'll have to check that out. I just wish there was some way that like I obviously could add some ambiance to the stream with music. But I want to use music that isn't gonna have a copyright strike against it, right? So like I don't want to just turn on the radio in the background. Sorry. Good luck with your job. Goodbye. See you, man. Have a good day. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Raid Shadow Legends is free now. I have no idea what the hell that is. Could have sworn. This is actually a pretty comfy setup. I'm not gonna lie. I might do this more often. Uh, might just have to solve the stream setup. I might just have to build a stream setup in the garage gym so we can so we can do it properly instead of off the mobile phone. Also, I still have I for those of you guys who like hang around some of my streams, you probably know I've been complaining about Nightbot not working. I still can't figure out why Nightbot doesn't work. I think I'm just gonna have to create a whole new Nightbot account or something. Just start all the way over. Why is YouTube now making games and gamification in streams with these XP points? You are for videos. You are not Steam. Uh yeah, I think in the life cycle of any product, some level of gamification always enters, right? Because somebody has that idea, right? Somebody is mandated with a project that's like, how do you increase engagement in XYZ place, right? And inevitably, gamification comes around. Some sort of in psychology, right? You would call it a variable reward schedule. So there's always somebody who wants to implement something that's like, hey, when a user takes XYZ actions, we will give them XYZ reward on some XYZ schedule. Um, and our brains love that. It's like going to the casino. It's like playing a battle royale, right? Our brains are addicted to pulling the lever in hopes that we get some reward from it. But I will agree with you. It's probably not necessary on YouTube. It's probably not necessary. People that want to engage will engage. People who don't won't. And no number of XP points is really gonna change that. Or that would be my theory. So we'll see. Maybe in 6 months the XP thing on YouTube goes away, right? Maybe it was just an experiment. Saeed, so what is your career developer or SC or what? So Saeed, you can go to my LinkedIn if you want to just kind of like I'm an open book when it comes to my professional career. So if you go to linkedin.stephenfreeborn.com, you can connect with me on LinkedIn there, and then you can look at all the my professional history. So my job currently is I work as a quality engineer for a software company that builds a web application, essentially. And so most of my day job involves doing manual and automated testing for that web application. There's also part of my job that's more difficult to describe. The kind of software we make is very configurable. It's like a no code solution. So you can kind of express any amount of business process automation you want. And I know our software really well and I've gotten really good at it. And so 9 times out of 10, if somebody has a tricky problem that they're trying to solve, or they have something that they think isn't quite working the way they'd want it to, uh, I'll usually get a Slack message or a Teams invite to help with those things. So that's kind of the unofficial part of my job that I do a lot of. But yeah, that's my career now. Now before this, before I was a quality engineer, I was a support analyst at the same company. Before I was a support analyst at this company, I worked for uh, a large frozen food manufacturer doing product development as a food scientist. Before that, I was a personal trainer and a medical scribe in the ER. So I've had kind of an eclectic career at this point. I would say if you had to describe what I am professionally, it's like I'm very good at learning. I'm very good at picking up new skills, acquiring knowledge, and then making that knowledge actionable. I'm pretty good at that. Artwork shoes. I think I'm going to create a LinkedIn account soon. Do it, man. Yeah, LinkedIn has kind of become the professional resume these days for a lot of people. Um, even if you submit even if you do submit a resume, like I will bet 9 times out of 10, people who are going to interview you or maybe colleagues at the new place where you're interviewing at, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to look you up on some social platform, whether that be LinkedIn or something else. So I think it behooves you to have a presence in those places and to control the narrative on those platforms around what you want people to know about you. I think it's useful. I prefer to use GitHub in my own website. Yeah, GitHub's fine too. I mean, the thing is it's not a zero sum game. Like be in all the places, right? If you have the bandwidth, be in all the places. If you don't want to do that, no worries. Saeed, if I want to continue in programming, I would go for Scrum Master. Interesting. So Scrum Masters are like I've never worked with one, but Scrum Masters are basically kind of like the PMs, like the project managers for software teams. Is that how I understand that? They kind of help teams organize themselves and drive projects along. I've never really worked with them. Bro has played every job in the world. I wish I'd played every job in the world. Um, I mean, I fully expect if I work, so I'm 32 now. Financially, if things go right, I would like to be in a position where work is kind of optional around 50 or 52, you know? I'd like to be in a place where, like, I don't necessarily need to work, but want to work. But I would expect over the next 20 years, 30 years, right, however long I, stay working actively, I would expect I'll probably change careers several more times. I think the world today changes at such a fast clip that to expect to have a career that you do for 40 years is just probably not realistic. Even if it's in the same industry, um, like, I just think I and even if it's the same industry and the same title, the skills you need and the work you do will probably change quite a bit, especially if you're in, like, a technology-based industry. Ramin, and soon bodybuilder. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be a bodybuilder. That takes way the amount of time and effort and dedication it takes to be a bodybuilder is pretty insane. Like I've had a lot of being having worked in the fitness industry. for many years and being a personal trainer and actually having friends and know people who compete and have earned their IFBB pro card, that's just it's a whole lifestyle, right? Like there's no late night coding sessions for bodybuilders, you know. There is bed at 9 p.m. because you need to get your sleep, you need to get up, do your cardio, eat your meals, cook your food. Like if you're trying to do that and work a full-time job, that's pretty much all the time all that you have time for. I love Scrum methodology and how they are efficient with medium-sized project. Well, Saeed, I don't know very much about Scrum methodology, so I would love for you to give me like a short boilerplate education on it if you don't mind. I don't know like if someone said, "Hey, describe Scrum," I don't think I could do that. I think I would have to chat GPT that one. But late night coding sessions are one of the best things about being a dev. Yeah, which is why I say that. That Wolfie, that's exactly why I say that because some of the most fun I've had over the last 2 or 3 years has been like having an idea pop into my head and then just going ham on it for 2 or 3 nights in a row and making a lot of progress and learning a lot, you know, having that experience of like falling into a flow state. So that's why I say like it'd be probably pretty difficult to be a coder who's a very serious bodybuilder and works a job and has a family, like, that would be pretty difficult. Oh, free shoot, I forgot I have a 10 o'clock meeting. So I've got probably another 10 minutes, for this office hour, and then I'll have to jump. I just got a calendar reminder. I have a 10 o'clock meeting for 2 hours. Yeesh, those are the worst kinds of meetings, man. Oh, I see, meeting. Yeah, that's the joy of the working world is meetings. I shouldn't complain though, compared to other people's calendars, um, like I have some people I work with who their calendars are literally full, like from 8 to 5 o'clock every day. And I always wonder, like, "Well, when do you guys actually do work?" Like, I know that means that they're staying up really late or they're getting up very early to do work because there's no way they're being uber productive when you have that many meetings back to back. Ramin, I'm curious to know, making and developing one app is teamwork or one developer can do everything? Uh, both are possible, Ramin. So I think the difference between if you want to build something with a team versus one developer is obviously velocity. So the thing is like your project, like if you decide I need to have 8 guys work on this app, that's going to dictate a lot of the architecture you're going to have to use, right? Because when you have 8 people who are making changes to a project concurrently, there has to be some sort of contract that those 8 people can rely on. So you're going to have to use some sort of architecture, some sort of process or system to make sure that those 8 people can concurrently be advancing and changing things and have some point of synchronization, right? Or some contract that they can all depend on. But the benefit there is theoretically, if you have a team, you should be able to do more in less time, theoretically. Uh, but it doesn't mean that one developer couldn't do the same thing that those 8 people could do, right? It's just likely gonna take him a little bit longer. I also think there are certain tech stacks that lend themselves better to like one man development versus team development. Like I always think of like if you're like you look at Ruby on Rails or Laravel. or even something like Blazor Server, I think those types of development those tech stacks, if you call them, or frameworks maybe, those things tend to lend themselves better to one man development projects because they provide a lot of like out of the box functionality and structure about like how you should do things, and this is where your models go, this is where your views go, this is where your and so you can as a one man person you can be very productive versus if you're using something like a say you're using like a Go backend with a REST API and you have a Vue front end and like a one man developer is having to switch languages and technologies and he's having to coordinate the back end to the front end and maintain the like so you can kind of see like it really depends, right? It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish, what tech stack you want to use. Um, but it can definitely be both those things. It can be a one man person or it can be a team of people. Side, it's more like writing a production code from test code, and it's perfect with a customer having a lot of changes in his requirements. We use Agile. I think if user enters something, then something. Oh, you're talking about Scrum. Sorry, I was like, what's Syed talking about here? It's because I asked you about Scrum. It's so write scenarios, then test, then production, and continuous test for project. I think that sounds nice. Yeah, I could see that being a very nice way to work. And of course, every time have meetings for 5 to 10 minutes while you are standing. Ah, the glorious stand up. I've always done things one man. Yeah, and Artwork Studios, honestly, most of my experience has been, because I've been building my own projects primarily, has been one man development. I've contributed to some open source things, but still as a one person team essentially, right? That I've never worked in an environment where you have like 20 engineers all building something across many different I've never worked in that type of environment, so I really don't know exactly what that experience is like. I only know about it from hearing other people talk, you know? How does team dev actually work? Is there a VS Code extension? Uh, team dev. I'm not sure if you're referring to something specific, but I think most teams these days when it comes to software development, most of them are probably organized around some sort of source controlled approach where you either have continuous integration where they're doing trunk based development where people check out branches and continually merge those branches all the time into the master, the main branch, which is I think that workflow, in my opinion, based on the conversations I've had and listening to people talk, that seems less of the scenario or less of the case. I think more of the case seems to be development teams who develop sort of around like feature based development, where like developers will check out a branch from main, and you'll have one or two developers working on feature branches, and then whenever the feature is considered done, they'll merge that in to the master and then deploy that. I think most people's workflow kind of centers around however they approach their source control. And then obviously most teams have some level of like requirements writing, design, development, tests, and they have some sort of cycle like that, you know. I never get to collab on code really. Yeah, I haven't done much of that either. I've done people like reviewing my code, but not much pair programming. Although I think it could be fun. I think pair programming or mob programming could be fun. So it's not perfect if you have a complex project like a rocket or a hospital system. Yeah, I would think that Syed, what you described, if you're doing like mission critical or critical systems type of development, right? Then you have to be much more thoughtful about it and thoughtful and what's the right word? Thoughtful and measured, right? Like I think if like you're building systems for NASA or if you're building systems for SpaceX or something like that, I would imagine they can't be as agile or as scrum like. But I could be wrong too, because I've never worked in those places or done that type of work. So this is just one guy sitting in his garage in Kansas, drawing conclusions from things he's been around. See you, Wolfie. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. I'm gonna have to go here in 3 minutes too, so no worries at all. No apologies necessary. We all have lives that are far more important than hanging out on YouTube streams. So have a good day, man. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. If it's Friday, I hope you have a wonderful Friday. I mean, is the language matter? Is the language matter? You mean like when you're working in teams, like what programming language? I think it does. I mean, I think that's why the MERN stack became so popular. There's an example of where, yeah, let's pick JavaScript and basically, hell, that's the only language we need anybody to ever know, right? That's the only language we only have to recruit people who know JavaScript. We only have to hire people who know JavaScript. Yeah, I think the language does matter in terms of how you staff and organize a team. Like if I'm just thinking of it from like, hey, if I was a business owner and I wanted to build something, you know, it's probably much easier to staff and retain a team the smaller or the narrower the tech stack is, the wider the tech stack becomes, right? The more polyglot the tech stack is, that means I have to hire and retain a much more diverse set of people, you know? I'm trying to use a backend service called Silent Wolf, and guess what? It won't let me download it. Huh. It sounds like you're building something, Artwork Studios. Nothing ever goes as planned. Syed, I'm a computer engineering student. I don't have a life. You need to get one, man. Having a life is good. I think having a life makes you better professionally. Um, like obviously spending time on your craft is important, but yeah, we're definitely here more than for our work, you know? Life is much deeper and richer than that. There's this movie called The Dead Poets Society, and there's a quote from it that I think about it all the time. Dead Poets Society. Uh, what is it? Quote? See if I can find it. But I think about it all the time because I think it's let's see. It says we don't this is the quote from the movie. It says we don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. And this is the part I like. He says in medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life, but poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for, uh which to me is like you got to keep that in mind, right? Engineering, solving problems, all that stuff is a ton of fun, right? But like life is about your family, it's about the people in it, it's not the destination, it's not the journey, it's the company type of thing. Hello, Inspire. Long time. How you been? I've been good, but I'm gonna have to ditch you actually because I gotta run to a meeting. I'm already a minute late for it. So thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. I don't know how many more of these I'll do from the garage gym. If there's weather like this, I'll probably do more of them. But yeah, thanks for chilling with me. I gotta go. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm gonna try to stream later today. Maybe learn more about Stripe, the Stripe API. But we'll see. I've got so I've got this 2-hour meeting that I'm already late for. Then I have a long lunch for a coworker who's departing. So we'll see how the afternoon goes. But if I don't see you, hope you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. Have an even better Friday. If it's already Friday for you, have a great rest of your Friday. Have an even better Saturday. And I'll see you guys in another stream. Bye, y'all. Stripe. Uh, The Stripe API, Stripe is a payment processor, or it's a company that makes it very easy for developers to integrate payment processing into their applications. All right, see you guys. Bye, y'all. How do I end this? Bye.